This Saturday, WWE talents will dominate the greater Los Angeles area with two events taking place within hours of each other, with talents from Mexico and talents that are going to climb the ladder and achieve the success of grabbing the briefcase to hopefully have a better cash-in than we've gotten over the past number of years. Man, it's a loaded goddamn wrestling weekend. Until July, when we get a super loaded wrestling weekend. Wrestling, never-ending wrestling. Oh, it's all kinds of wrestling. This is a wrestling song that never ends. Yes, it goes on and on, my friends. Let's discuss. I'm John Rentham with my WWE Worlds Collide 2025 and WWE Money in the Bank 2025 predictions. Let me know your predictions in the comments, please. So, you probably didn't expect me to do predictions for both of these events, and here's why. I have not done a lot of weekly WWE reviews, and by not a lot, I mean I haven't done any since the Raw After Mania. There's a reason for that. I'm burned out. I kept up on enough of this stuff. I'm at least excited about the potential of a couple of winners on the Money in the Bank card. As for Worlds Collide, I know next to nothing about the AAA talents, but since they acquired AAA and they're also going to include... they're just going to include wrestlers from just various areas, and we're just going to human centipede them together inside the Kia Forum. So, yeah, let's just get to Worlds Collide. So we have Legoland Phantasm. God, I miss saying that. Santos Escobar, Angel, and hey, Berto. Berto. You can't take a guy named Berto seriously. It's like a fucking Muppet. And he's talented, by the way. Just, hey, Berto. So they're taking on El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. God, I'm familiar with Dr. Wagner enough that I know he is a staple, a mainstay when it comes to Lucha Libre. But he is teaming up with Pagano and Psycho Clown. I've heard that name. I think I've seen a few clips. I feel it's going to be mostly a clean sweep because why make the AAA talents look strong? Because I think that's just going to become NXT Mexico in all honesty. Because AAA has had a lot of debts and a whole lot of stuff and everything, but that's been talked about. That acquisition happened and people were just going absolutely apeshit over it. I think Legoland Phantasm's going to get the win. Why? Why not? I mean, does it really matter? So, El Hijo del Vikingo taking on Chad Gable before Chad Gable jets over to compete as Grand Fappuccino. Yeah, more on that here in a bit. So, it's the AAA Mega Championship after beating Alberto El Patron, the shell of what he once was as both a wrestler and a human. El Hijo del Vikingo will win this. Why? Because there is no reason for Chad Gable to win the title and then go over there and do it. I could see them doing that. It would be really stupid, though. And they might as well keep the title on somebody. Recognize they might as well at least give AAA a little bit of a bone. But I could definitely see them surprising people by having Chad Gable win, but it would be dumb. So we get the NXT North American Men's Championship being defended with Ethan Page taking on Javon Evans, taking on Laredo Kid, taking on Rey Fenix. Oh my god, what happened to Ricky Starks? Ethan Page recently beat him for the North American Championship on the same NXT episode where JC Jane, my goodness, won the NXT Women's Championship, and deservedly so. Check out a Real Honest Thoughts kind of pseudo rant I did on wrestling tribalism and JC Jane's title win. You can look at time codes in that one. I think Ethan Page will get the victory. It would be cool if Javon won, but I think they're going to extend that to have it happen on an NXT premium live event. Pay-per-views are better. I know nobody buys this shit anymore, but come on. Premium live events is just such a Vinceism. It really is. Proving that Triple H has learned too much from Vince. Ethan Page will get the victory. I have a feeling Laredo Kid will probably take the pin. It would be cool if Phoenix won and maybe went down to NXT and had some appearances because you've heard what they've been doing with him on SmackDown. But I think we're going to get Penta and Phoenix teaming up by somewhere around SummerSlam. So Ethan Page will retain, probably paying Laredo Kid. And I think him and Javon are going to build to an eventual blow-off because they've had matches before and Javon will take the title from Ethan Page. So we have Stephanie Vaquer looking as only she can look, an absolute goddess of a woman, both in talent and just in beauty, my God. Taking on Lola Vice, who, if she shakes her ass too goddamn much, it's going to cause a crack in the San Andreas fault line. And they take on Dolly's and Chick Tormenta, or Torment. I don't actually know if I'm pronouncing that right. I do apologize. Chick Tormenta also was the nickname of the person that allegedly abused Stephanie Vacour, and also the name of the person that Stephanie had to get a restraining order against, because people feel that defending abusers is better than actually taking up for the victims. Stephanie and Lola will get the victory because I think they want to keep Stephanie strong, unless they want to have Lola take the pin. They seem to see something in Lola. I don't know what necessarily, but whatever. She's fine, I guess. But they're going to want to keep Stephanie strong, even though I think a lot of this is non-canon. I also fear they're going to have Stephanie wrestle on some of these AAA shows, and they better give her fucking protection for this, because I have a feeling certain AAA talents may be lurking around. So we then have the LWO of Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, who was something Cruz, I forget what his actual goddamn name was, and Walkin' Wild. Take a walking on the wild side, aka the former DJZ. They're taking on Octagon Jr., Aerostar from Lucha Underground, and also Mr. Iguana. If he is not wrestling with a giant iguana in his corner, I'm going to be disappointed. LWO is going to get the victory. I mean, I guess. Does it really matter? Maybe Ray makes an appearance. Ray actually, I think, has a torn groin, so I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything except hobble out there. It's a shame Ray can't be part of this. But nevertheless. So that basically ends the Worlds Collide prediction. So Money in the Bank predictions. So we have Lyra Valkyria versus Becky. It's for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. They've had some great war of words. Lyra's doing her best. Lyra clearly has, I think, a few nerves, but is also at the same time finding a little bit of confidence and everything. And I like Lyra. I'm not as down on Lyra as other people are. I'm not saying she's ever going to be a premier main eventer, but at least they're trying. They're trying with somebody that gets reactions from the crowd, as opposed to Logan Paul, who gets the same amount of reactions that an outbreak of syphilis would. Actually, they're both one and the same. Lyra and Becky competing for the Intercontinental Championship. This is after Lyra shockingly beat Becky. If Becky loses, she cannot challenge for the title as long as Lyra is champion, meaning she will screw over Lyra as the champion if she loses, and that will build to a blow-off match, maybe a cage match or something at another pay-per-view. And if Lyra loses, she must raise the hand to Becky and admit that Becky is the better woman. And then I could see them giving it to Becky. The thing is does Becky really need the championship? Becky will be no more over as champion than she is right now. And I'm not saying Becky needs to be jobbed out and everything. And Becky did that interview a number of weeks ago where people were talking about, how old she is and that she needs to step aside. It's not about age with me, with Becky. I love Becky. And Becky, if she wants to do this for another 10 fucking years, she can. Because she wrestles a safe enough style. She has figured out what works best for her. She takes breaks. She works safe. And she also works hard. And she's willing to put over her opponents and take the necessary crazy bumps when needed. But just not that often. She can talk people into the building and build up to big matches. Lyra being her understudy, shall we say, and somebody that Becky wants to push. I can see Becky willing to do the job for Lyra. But then, screwing her over, as I said. So I think Lyra's going to get the victory. I wouldn't mind Becky winning. It would be a wrinkle, and it would be a way to build to Lyra winning the title back. But I think there's other plans for Lyra, and I think what's going to happen is I think Liv is going to end up taking that championship. Either Liv or possibly Stephanie. But I think Liv's going to end up taking that title from Lyra. Possibly at SummerSlam. Because SummerSlam's kind of becoming Liv's deal right there. She's getting to where she's going to start becoming Miss SummerSlam, shall we say. So Lyra's going to eke out a win, and then we'll build to a blow-off match after Becky screws her over. Cody and Jay versus John Cena and human syphilis outbreak himself, Logan Paul. Cody and Jay, because Cody has just come back. He needs a win. Jay is the world heavy heat champion. And Cena not taking the pin would actually be smarter. I think Logan Paul should take the pin because if we're being perfectly honest, Logan Paul really doesn't need to be winning any big matches. Him beating AJ Styles at Mania was certainly a choice that has absolutely not been followed up on all that much. AJ's just been kind of floating around, but he's also going to retire within the next 18 months or so. And I want to address something really quickly before I get to the rest of the Money in the Bank predictions. So, we have the releases and the rumors and innuendo and innuendo. R-Truth. If R-Truth is going to retire, because R-Truth is in his, early 50s, I get it. If he wants to retire from in-ring competition, I'd like to see him have a small indie run and do the convention circuit and stuff like that. It is bullshit that TKO, Endeavor, whatever, do not value loyalty, but a friend of mine in Texas and myself, we were calling this happening because of how they treat the UFC talent. It is bullshit, and I know I'm days late on this. I haven't had a chance to really talk about this, but R-Truth deserved better. R-Truth should at least be an ambassador for the company. I'd say if the backlash is severe enough, sign him to another 1-year deal with the same terms, with good money, because he still sells some merch. He's very, very popular, especially among the locker room, and he's entertaining. And they need some entertainment, because they're trying to push some fucking people that just ain't fucking good, and ain't ever going to be fucking good, no matter if they've been around here for a few months or a few goddamn years. And Truth absolutely deserves to, in my opinion, have a job for life there. It's also proved that nobody is safe, and any veterans, such as Natty and Kofi and Xavier and others that have been there for a while, Sheamus, should be worried. Now, yes, nobody can stick around forever, but there need to be exceptions. Because Truth is so goddamn beloved. And this just comes out of nowhere, and I just am very disappointed where even if I found some of his shtick a little bit old, I hated the 24/7 stuff, Truth made most anything work. Because Truth is very good. Truth is very good at what he does, and it's remarkable that he basically looks the goddamn same as he did when he signed with the company again back in early 2008. He has been there for just over 17 years. I was just trying to do the math in my head. About 17 and a half years, essentially. Now, he's saying that his contract won't be renewed. He could have a number of months left on his goddamn deal. His deal could be up in a couple weeks. I don't goddamn know. It's cool that he got to wrestle John Cena, and it's great that he was able to, face off against his hero and have a big TV special main event, even if, well, I mean, it was the start of the second hour, but you get my point. It was a big match against Big Match John, who can't have big matches anymore because he can barely fucking move. And yes, that happens, but still, it is really, really, boy, good lord. That's another story for another day. Truth deserved a whole lot better here, and I wish that the backlash was severe enough that they would get him at least one more 1-year contract. Nobody can wrestle forever. Nobody can stay around forever in the ring, but he really should be an ambassador for the company. So, I would say sign Truth. That's what I would do. I mean, it's not like they aren't making copious amounts of money, and maybe if they would cut down the celebrity appearances and cut down the bullshit, they could actually, I don't know, want to afford to keep the wrestlers. But nevertheless, Carlito is gone after 2 years. His contract will not be renewed. He's been good as a comedy figure, but honest to God, I mean, I'm not saying that he's been a waste. It's just, he's just been there. Got a big pop at Backlash when he, shockingly showed up, Backlash in Puerto Rico. And took a hell of a spear from Braun in the aisleway. That was cool, but that's about it. And now Valhalla announced that she is not going to be, Sarah Rowe is not going to be part of the company anymore. I forgot she was still there. I think she was pregnant again. Go raise your kids to be right-wing crackpots as far as I'm concerned, and be a weird naturalist moron based just on her social media. She probably needs to just shut up and wrestle, but she can't really wrestle, if we're being perfectly honest, and she really just should go home and be a family person, because I don't see anybody that really wants her to wrestle. I just don't. And her husband, I believe Eric of the Viking Raiders, I wouldn't be actually too surprised if both of them were gone soon. Because, to be quite honest, they're both 40, 41 with surgically repaired necks and various health issues, and they have been there for 6-7 years, something like that. I think it's been about 7 years. Then they became the Viking Experience, but the whole point is Valhalla. I'm sorry, she's not going to be missed. She's not. I mean, I feel bad for anybody who loses income, but is anybody really going to fucking miss Valhalla? Now there are rumors and innuendo. Gunther erased a lot of mentions of WWE and stuff like that and deleted a lot of his tweets, and now there's just tweets about his wife on his social media. He just signed a new 5-year contract. Unless he wants out of that and just to leave the company to do God knows what and throw away all that money, I think he will be back. I don't believe for a second that he is going to be gone. I'm willing to be corrected, but I don't believe for a second that he is going to be gone. That would be a monumental waste. Even though he is approaching 40, I think he's 37, 38, he wrestles a safe enough style and is somebody that they at least should see out the rest of the 5-year contract. Once he's in his early 40s, you want to shove him to the side, fine. But he's proven to be a hell of a goddamn worker. There are people that find him boring. I respect that. I like Gunther, and I would like to see him continue to have a role of success. Now, if he does end up leaving and that 5-year contract actually turned out to be bullshit, he could show up in AEW. He'd be one of the most over talents. He could show up, well, I mean, God forbid if he showed up in the NWA. He could show up in New Japan and be a hell of a goddamn boost. Much of a boost as that company could get. Also, Miz apparently removed mentions of WWE from his social media, and his contract expires sometime in early July. Miz has been there way, way longer than I anticipate he would be. He does do a lot of great publicity for the company and is always willing to make media appearances and promote and promote and promote. This one surprises me, but it also kind of doesn't as far as his in-ring work, which has never been all that great. And the association with Carmelo hasn't been something to benefit him. So as of right now, that's where things stand as far as the releases go. So there you are. So let's get back to the Money in the Bank predictions. I'm actually very surprised that I even spent any time on that. Alexa Bliss, oh boy, oh Bliss, oh Jesus Christ. She's popular with people. I don't hate her. She feels like a relic. I'm sorry. She got a big pop at the Rumble. She gets big reactions on television. To me, her in-ring work has regressed so goddamn much. And I know she's coming off of like a hiatus because she had a kid and wanted to spend time with the kid. And that's great. That way she has a kid. She can have someone to look up to by the time the kid's 4 years old. So Roxanne is also in this match. Rhea Ripley, Julia, who's going after the U.S. title with that Zelina's holding, and quite frankly should be the U.S. champion as of now. Naomi and Stephanie Vacour. Women's Money in the Bank match. There are only two options here. You go with the shock of Roxanne winning, or you go with Naomi winning. And I was talking to Tom. He's on social media. He does a lot of great art. TQ Sherwood, I believe is what it is. A great artist, by the way. I just want to shout that right there. This was something that was discussed just before I did this prediction video. Naomi wins, Jade keeps trying to stop her, and eventually we have a match where Naomi does get the victory and is able to cash in, or Jade screws over Naomi in the match and somebody else wins. The only other one that I could see possibly winning would be Roxanne. I mean, yes, Stephanie winning would be cool. Rhea doesn't need to win it. I'm sorry. She fucking doesn't. Alexa, please. Fucking please. Because she doesn't need it. So really the only option is Naomi. And I would love to see Naomi get the victory because it would be cool. She could have caution tape around the goddamn briefcase. She could do stuff. You could gimmick that thing up. Naomi has immersed herself in this heel character, even if I think sometimes some of the pre-tape stuff is a little cheesy and a little stagey. That's not just on her. That's on how WWE overproduces them. I think Naomi should be the one to get the briefcase. But if Stephanie won, that'd be great, but I think Naomi. So we get Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, Penta, we have Andrade, and we have Grand Fappuccino, and Seth Pheasant Rollins. If it is not Seth, then we are going to have problems, and here's why. Unless Gunther is totally gone, and they just forgot about that goddamn match, and they're just blowing off that whole goddamn thing, and I haven't paid attention to every little bit of minutia on the goddamn on the goddamn deal. I haven't been able to predict who's going to win Jay versus Gunther. I think that you're going to have, because it's the following Raw after Money in the Bank, so it's on the 9th, I believe. Seth wins. He cashes in on Jay. He's a champion. You go with Seth, and you go with Punk, and you go with them going into SummerSlam, and you put the title on Punk. It would give Seth a nice little 2-month run right there, or more or less. Or you could keep, building this whole damn thing, and Punk could win the title sometime around Survivor Series. Nothing against Jay. If Jay somehow managed to eke out a win, great. I got nothing against Jay as, a draw, as somebody that people like, as, getting big reactions and selling a lot of merch. But this title reign, he won the title. And now we see where the real fun begins. Because I do not personally think that Jay as champion is a long-term solution. He won it. He's had his moment. I think it's time to give it to Seth. Because otherwise you're going to eke this thing along with him being the leader of this, new group. And without a title, because Steiner no longer has the IC title. Him and Reed could win the tag titles, and that would be cool. But you need something to happen where you have titles on everybody, and you have Heyman lay off the goddamn spray tanning and stuff like that. But I think Seth is going to win, because if they give it, and this is something else I talked about with a friend of mine in Texas, if they give it to Gable, a.k.a. Grand Pappuccino, and he cashes in on El Hijo del Vikingo on another event, it's going to basically destroy the Money in the Bank concept. And I'm sorry, Solo winning, no. Penta winning, no. LA Knight, it would be cool if LA Knight won. He's not going to. Andrade, please. So Seth needs to win it. It makes the most sense, which is why I could see them avoiding it. That being said, those are my predictions, along with a little thing about the releases. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Rethlin, and until we meet again, happy trails to you.